We're back with another client spotlight interview. This is my client and good friend, Mando Sallavanti. Mando, how you doing?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Awesome. Really good. So what I wanted to start with is if you could just briefly describe your business, what you do, just for anybody watching.
So I'm a financial planner. We work with clients ongoing, basically to take their values and what's important to them and help align their money with what those are. And we're doing it through different strategies with cash flow, with investments, with risk management strategies, anything financial, you name it, we help them with that.
Awesome. And could you also give like a brief summary of what our work has consisted of so far?
Yeah. So Adam reached out to me. Geez, we're sitting here end of January recording this. It was probably back in maybe May or June that we did our first session together. And it was, hey, I'm going to do 5 free videos. You'll get them edited and see how you like the work. So I got them back. And I remember that you sent them and I looked, I'm like, dude, this is like way better than I ever expected. Could we talk about like working together more? So anyways, what we did was we created an ongoing engagement where we would sit down. We'd come with the video ideas, whether it was some mainly short form, but we did some long form as well. And we would record and we would workshop it and he would give me feedback and I would tell him what I'm trying to get across and we would collaborate on these things. So with putting video content into everything, it made a very low friction way to get more content out, but more personal with the audience with video. Cause I think with video, it's just the best way to do that.
Could you describe like what your process for making that kind of content looked like before and after working with us?
Yeah, so it was similar, but not as effective for this reason. Before, what I would do, I have my tripod, I'd put my phone on the tripod, then I'd go and I'd set up in my office and it's like, all right, I have these 5 videos that I know I want to make today. When I would do it, I'd stumble over my words, I would forget what I wanted to make the video about, I couldn't think about the way that I wanted to do things. And I think working together did one big thing for me. It was like, I know I have a session, so I know I need to be prepared for this. So by knowing I need to be prepared, I would be like, all right, you know, like the one session we just did, we talked a lot about familial dynamics in financial planning. So ahead of that, I'm like, all right, I need to have like a list of ideas coming into this of what I want to talk about with that. So we talked about life insurance, we talked about investing, we talked about whatever else. So that was the biggest change. Like just there's an accountability level to it, but also having your feedback as a real person with me as opposed to me just watching a clip on my phone, that was really helpful too.
So could you share as well like the impact of content on the business, your LinkedIn content, your video content that we do together in terms of revenue that it helps you generate, leads generated, and just growth on social media as a whole?
Yeah, so I think number one thing with social media before I get into the revenue numbers, what people don't realize is you need to get as many of people's senses involved as possible. So what I mean by that is this: if I'm reading a text post and then I read a text post with a picture of the person who wrote it, and then I read a text post with a video of that person talking about the thing in the text, and I could see them, I could hear them, I could know their accent, their mannerisms, like you see me moving my hands right now. That builds trust so much faster with people because you become more familiar as a person with them. So off of that, last year my business did $330,000 in revenue. In addition to that, I have a consulting business on the side that did $27,000 in revenue, which is just coaching I do for financial advisors. And I have brand partnerships that I made $12,000 from. I'm bringing all 3 of them up for this reason. I can't definitively say like we did these videos and I made X amount from that because of it. But what I could say is the level of quality that we put out, the number of them that we continue to put out, because quality plus quantity I think is super powerful. It creates a different brand around me compared to what I had before and builds trust faster. So across all those businesses, my financial business that did 330, 73% of that revenue were clients from social media. So just off that, I mean, 73% of the revenue wasn't from the video, but you can attribute a strong portion of that for sure for the trust that it helps build.
Right, absolutely. Can you talk about the time commitment that was involved on your end? Like, what did you have to do? What did we handle? What did that look like?
The preparation for me was probably 30 minutes of just idea generation, looking at my calendar, brainstorming with ChatGPT of like what I wanted to talk about in the videos. Otherwise, it was literally like show up and record. And for me, that was so easy because before, if I was going to record, I would probably have to block off, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, whereas now 4 or 5 hours to get 10 videos, like maybe 10.
Yeah.
Now it's like we have our 2-hour session, which is what me and you do personally. I'm sure it's different with all your clients, but me and you do a 2-hour session. I do a little bit of prep. You probably do a little bit of prep. We show up. We record for 2 hours. Last time it was 1 hour. It wasn't even an hour. We got like, we had like 30 videos. Yeah. And I'm like, what time is it? And he's like, dude, it's been 56 minutes. I'm like, well, there's no reason to do the second hour. We're done. Yeah. So anyways, minimal work on my end, which is why I like it. It's so low friction and it helps me get high quality of content out.
Awesome. So I guess one of my next questions would be, what surprised you about this whole process, and did you have any misconceptions before starting what it would look like?
What surprised me was the quality of the videos. Like I was expecting them to be good, but I'm like, this is just better than I've seen.
Yeah.
So that's probably the number one. I think the quality is super important. Number two was how easy it was to just like not spend a ton of time on it. And for me, that's huge because my calendar, if you look at it, is just back to back to back to back. I have as much of an excuse to not do content or anything as anybody. So for me to have, just say we do 30 pieces and I use 25 of them from a 2-hour session. Well, now that's a month of videos that took me 2 hours that before probably would have taken me 10 to 15.
If somebody was on the fence about working with us, what would you say to them?
I would literally say just think about the time savings. And not only the time savings, even if you do it yourself, you're just not going to create the quality that you do. I think that's just the bottom line.
Any final thoughts that you'd want to share with anybody watching?
I think what I would share with anyone watching is, me and you have an interesting dynamic because we've known each other for years. We live locally. So there might be someone on the other side of the screen that's not local to where we live. They might be in California. They might be in Texas. The one thing about any professional I work with, I think integrity is super important and like going above and beyond is super important. Now, you've met my expectations along the way, so I've never had to make any sort of ask, which I think is super important. But I think it goes without being said. Say you had a client, they weren't exactly 100% satisfied. I know that you're the guy that would be like, I'll do XYZ extra just to make sure you get value out of this. So like, that's just my 2 cents about you as a professional and like working with you. I've never had to do it because it's been awesome. But if you have hesitation, I think that's just a safety blanket to have in the back of your mind.
I appreciate that, and it really means a lot coming from you. I'm really happy about our work together, and I'm really excited for what the future has in store. So I appreciate you coming on here today. Thank you.
Yeah. Love it, dude.
Hell yeah.